What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy MXP here today, and we're going to talk about a few things I've mentioned somewhat in like shorts or on my live streams, but I haven't really given my full-on thoughts about it. Maybe I've just talked about it in the news a little bit, but we want to talk about what's going on with Xbox, maybe what's going on in the future of Xbox, things like that. You know, we got Halo campaign involved, so the full third-party push is fully here now. There's no more denying it. There's no more, no more beating around the bush or getting around it. It's here. It is now Microsoft Gaming fully is now realized. That vision is now here. I do want to talk about next gen and kind of where Microsoft might be headed with that, and who's their new audience. And then I want to also talk about brand loyalty a little bit, because I've been seeing, over the last few months, probably a year and a half or so actually, that we're seeing some like disturbing things when it comes to brand loyalty and how people feel about these companies and things like that, and why that's kind of dangerous for the industry as a whole. So if you are new here, please do hit that like button and that subscribe. If you have been here before, make sure you are hitting that notification bell so you do get notified for my videos. So the first thing I want to talk about is the reveal of Halo Campaign Evolved, coming from Halo Studios, formerly 343. Now, we did say, hey, we know something's coming. Phil Spencer kind of hinted at it during the Xbox showcase during the summertime. He said, we got Fable, the next Forza Horizon 6, Halo was hinted at, and then we got, of course, Gears E-Day coming out. So for the 25th anniversary of Xbox, we're getting a lot of these games coming out that are reminiscent of, OG Xbox days. The only difference is they will be available on other platforms, namely the PS5. So during the Halo World Championships a few weeks ago, we did have the reveal of Halo Campaign Evolved, which was a pretty, fitting name for it. Obviously it's normally Halo Combat Evolved. It's called Campaign Evolved because it will have no multiplayer, which is fine. I'm not super mad at that. Of course, we don't have a price on it, but it will be coming out in 2026. It will also have, some upgraded features. It is in Unreal Engine 5, which we already knew Halo Studios is coming out with, all their games pretty much in Unreal Engine. So this is kind of I'd say like a test bed for that. So it looks pretty good. Now, does it look like Halo necessarily with the, graphics and things like that? It still does, but you can definitely tell, OG fans can definitely tell there's a bit of a difference there. But, again, the additions, graphics wise, but also mechanics wise, are going to have certain weapons that weren't in, the original game. They're going to be in the future games. They're in the sprint button. They also have 3 like prequel missions with Sergeant Johnson, which is good for OG fans too. It gives you a little bit extra, more of a reason to come back, because we did get this game already back in 2011 for the 10-year anniversary. Now, when it comes to PS5 release, okay, we could just, get right into it. It's weird, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I sit here like if if Kratos ended up on Xbox, it will look weird, right? Same thing with Mark Phoenix showing up on the PS5 with Gears Reloaded. It's weird to see. Now, when it comes to getting more fans and a third-party push, it is what it is. The Xbox is showing, listen, we are Microsoft Gaming, third-party, we're going for it. And me, ultimately, and it's a single-player experience. Now, when it comes to exclusives, and we'll talk about it in a second, Halo was the Xbox. That was the definition of Xbox, right? Like, if you looked up Xbox in the dictionary, a picture of Master Chief will be sitting right there. And they've, in Phil Spencer's words of what he didn't want to happen, lost their way with Halo over the last few releases. There was always something going wrong with it, whether it was Halo 4's online being like Call of Duty, or Halo 5 story not being all the way there, Halo Infinite not really being what it needed to be. So it's been a rough time when it comes to Halo. But again, overall, for me, I'm gonna play these games regardless of where they're at, most likely just on my Xbox or PC or whatever. But it's good to see that, PS5 fans will now be able to play it. But now, speaking of exclusives, let's talk about it. I mean, the Xbox or Microsoft Gaming execs they've been outside. They've been doing interviews. They've been doing all this kind of stuff. And in an interview, Sarah Bond said that exclusive games are now antiquated. Now, this has been throwing a lot of people off, especially, it started back in 2023 when Phil Spencer did that interview with Kind of Funny. And he said, hey, listen, we could put out, Starfield could be 11 out of 10. That's not going to bring everybody to drop their PlayStations and come to Xbox. We lost the digital library generation, the most important generation to lose, all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of like there's truth and falsehood in these statements, right? So let's go with the Sarah Bond quote. So basically, she said that the idea of exclusives are antiquated, and said that people are evolving way past the idea that a game should be exclusive to one star device. She said, when you look at the biggest games in the world, they're available everywhere. You look at Call of Duty, Minecraft, Fortnite, Roblox. That's really driving community and gaming. And the idea of locking into one star device is antiquated for most people. She continues to say, you want to be able to play with your friends anywhere, regardless of what they're on. And we're really leaning into that with this experience, talking about the ROG Ally X. It opens up another way for you to play, as does cloud, as does PC, consoles, we all have in the living room, etc., etc. And now, why I say there's truth and falsehood in it is because, yes, the biggest games are third party. However, the biggest games have always been third party. Call of Duty, Minecraft, Madden, FIFA, all these games are always the top sellers because they're available everywhere. However, if you talk about, you as a brand and having your identity there, you would want people to have a reason to come to your platform and then buy those third party games there. If you're going to say, hey, these games sell it's like, yeah, they do, but at the same time, you have to have a reason for people to come to your platform if you're going to grow your ecosystem. Exclusives are what put people on your platform, and then they buy the Maddens and the whatever else, the Call of Duties and all that. And now this is kind of the, the curse part of the gift and the curse of them owning Activision Blizzard is, yeah, cool, you own Call of Duty, but you didn't make it exclusive because obviously you want to make the most money. But now you're trying to be it's hard. Like, I mean, how do you be the exclusive company, but also have, these big published games like Minecraft, which they've had already for however long? So it's like, there's truth to it, but there's also a lot of falsehood to it. And I also say that, these execs are politicians. These execs are salespeople. They're going to say whatever makes sense to sell their product. If Microsoft was winning and selling as much as PlayStation, they wouldn't be pushed to push all these games everywhere and all this kind of stuff. If they had 80 million to 100 million Game Pass subscribers, they wouldn't have to, do all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like they're only saying it because that's the position they're in, which they should, because if this is your new vision, that's what you have to push. And that's what makes sense for them. But we're not going to sit here and say like, oh, that's just the end all be all. Yeah, games should just be everywhere. Now, as a consumer, you like this because you're like, okay, now I don't have to, growing up, it was like, dang, I can't play these games. I wish every game came out on one system. I don't need to ask my parents for one thing. But then as you get older, maybe you have more access money wise, or maybe you get a PC, even if you're not older, and you can kind of play this stuff everywhere and you don't really care. But that's just it. People like, hey, I decided to pick your console. So why don't I have exclusive things? I would have just went with a PS5 or saved my money and got something else. But we're not going to act like exclusives don't matter at all. And now, speaking of exclusives, we know that the next console is coming sometime possibly in 2027, whether, this PS5 as well as the what they're calling Project Magnus from Xbox. And so when it comes to these leaks, we're seeing like, hey, these specs are crazy. The chips 42% bigger than what the PS6 is going to be, all this kind of stuff. But we're seeing that it's probably going to be a hybrid system or have some type of PC capabilities and sensibilities similar to the ROG Ally X. And the ROG Ally X, which is provided by Asus, is kind of like, again, a test bed. Like, Xbox is tweaking and learning and following these things to see, okay, what makes sense for us? How can we expand this with our business? And, how we're trying to do things when it comes to, the third party push, increasing cloud and mobile and PC and all this kind of stuff. They're trying to see that. So the issue with this is, and maybe it's not an issue, but it's like, okay, why would someone buy this thing? People are saying with the ROG Ally X, why would I buy this instead of a Steam Deck? Why should I buy this instead of a, you know, if I already have a ROG Ally, why should I buy this thing? And sure, the experience is cool, but now you're also going to price out, you know, the reason for console gaming is to have it be affordable or somewhat affordable. So now this PC hybrid type thing, you're going to have to charge what, $1,200, $1,500? Like Phil Spencer already said, we ain't winning, you know, by having we're not expanding on the console market with $1,000 consoles or whatever. And now they're putting out $1,000 consoles. So I don't know what's going on with him saying these things, bro. I think Phil needs to just stop talking, bro, because there's a quote people could pull up every time he says something. And I get it. Things change, business change, things like that. But when it comes to this next console, I feel like maybe Xbox is realizing, hey, instead of trying to, you know, get everybody on this platform, we already seen the Xbox Series X has gone up, what, $600 at this point, or $800 for the, you know, the main joint with the disc drive. It's like, man, we're already losing money on this thing. Maybe we can up the price a bit, possibly, you know, get someone else like Asus or whoever to put out these different form factors and then make more money that way. Because I believe PC, you know, Alienware, all these guys, Lenovo, they must make money on their consoles, obviously. Like they don't have their own storefront. So maybe Microsoft is saying, hey, we're already not really selling, we're selling at a loss anyway, so let's put out a super bespoke, like high-end console hybrid type thing with the PC, and then whoever, you know, can afford it, they'll afford it. But again, the issue, you're kind of alienating people, right? Maybe again, they got analytics and analysts and graphs and charts and all this stuff to probably say, the money we'll save from not manufacturing, the money we're not getting back from people not buying stuff, we can offset it with this, you know, super console, and then us putting our games on other places will make up for it. They already got more people and everything. And that might be true. My main thing though is, what does this do for Game Pass? Because if you say you already got 30 million people, and let's say 20 million of them are on console, it's like, now what? Where does that money go? And that's what makes me kind of scared about what, like, is Game Pass going to keep going? Are they going to get rid of it? Is PC Game Pass not going to be a thing because you got a hybrid console? And now, like, how does that work with that, you know, integration and everything like that? The games are going to be $80 next year. I guarantee it. You could mark me down saying it right now today. That them games is going up to 80. They tried to do it this year as soon as they got the green light, so to speak, from Mario Kart World. It didn't work out. You tried to do it with Outer Worlds 2, but you're not telling me next year for the 20th anniversary, you got Gears E-Day, Fable, Forza Horizon 6, and then a new Halo, or well, maybe Halo might be $50. I don't know what they're going to do with that. But that's, if there's a year to do it, it's going to be next year, right? You probably got a new Infinity Ward, Call of Duty coming out. Next year, them games is going to be $80. We'll just have to see what happens. And now the last part I wanted to talk about is this brand loyalty thing, man. It's gotten so bad. Like the console wars growing up, it's like, ha, you know, the Wii's, you know, look, the remote looks like a dildo, all that stupid stuff we were saying, and da. Like, okay, when we were younger, but like now online, I feel like some people have made these things, these companies, so part of their personality, instead of just saying like, hey, this is what I like. Oh, you like that? Oh, okay, I don't agree, but, and keep it moving, to like, people were getting like fights, coming after people's character, talking about people's families, all this weird stuff. And it's like, bro, like, I really don't understand it. And it comes to the point where people are having like breakdowns when it comes to their company or their favorite console not doing what they want them to do. And it's breeding really bad for, you know, for the ecosystem. And to me, like I said, I'm an Xbox guy. I have a PlayStation, I have a Switch. I grew up on Nintendo and all that, but I root for Xbox, you know, or Microsoft Gaming now. What happens with them in the future, we'll have to see. But I just really wish we got to a point where people aren't celebrating, calling names, all this kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, these companies need each other. They need it to, you know, for better or worse, they kind of copy each other with certain things. Like we're hearing PlayStation might do a hybrid. You think that they were caring about handhelds until they saw the Switch doing what it's doing. PlayStation's also revamped PlayStation Plus to be more like Game Pass, whether people like it or not. Do they have day one games in there? No, but like it's very similar. We even seen rumors of a PS5 and PC like cross buy, or you know, what do you call it, dual ownership or whatever, possibly coming out. So like they all, whether we care or not or look at the numbers and all this stuff, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and these companies still view each other as competition. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing with Nike. Could be number one, but as soon as, it's not necessarily about being number one, it's about having more of the market share. Once they start seeing Asics, Adidas, New Balance, all that start taking 5, 10, 12% more of the market share year over year, they're like, hold up, we got to get this back. It doesn't matter if they own 65 to 70%. They need more of it. PlayStation is doing the same thing. Nintendo's doing the same thing. Xbox is attempting to do the same thing, but failing miserably. But that's just it, man. Like, we got to stop with all this stupid, you know, infighting and all that. Let's all play games, you know, have our little jabs here or there, make jokes and all that, but let's calm it down a bit. And that's it, man. That's all my thoughts on the recent, you know, happenings and inner workings when it comes to Xbox. Like I said, I've said it in multiple videos. I've said it on my streams on TikTok. Make sure y'all follow me on TikTok. But you know, I just choose to enjoy games, and the companies, you know, take it for what it is and keep it moving. They increased the price of Game Pass. I'm like, okay. I never perpetually, you know, subscribe to Game Pass. I would pick months that make sense for me. If the games are cheaper here or cheaper on PlayStation, that's where I'll buy it. Like, if like, you gotta do what makes sense for you. No blind loyalty, none of this stupid brand loyalty to companies that don't know who you are and things like that. Do what makes sense for you as a consumer. Do what makes sense for you for what you're a fan of. Support what you like, and, you know, leave it at that. But that's all my words of wisdom for today, my PBS after school special for the day. But appreciate you guys for checking out the video. Again, like I said, if you're new, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment down below on how you feel on all of this. Do you care about this whole console war crap? Are you buying Halo on Xbox or PlayStation? What do you think about the next generation of consoles that we might be seeing? And yeah, let me know everything in the comment section below. Appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.